Hello, I have a double page layout for you today. I'm going to be using the Scenic Adventure, or no, Weekend Adventures. I still have a whole sticker sheet. I did buy a couple of these, and I am going to be using the workshop guide as my inspiration. So this layout right here, I really like it, but I'm going to switch it up. So my photos match this side pretty well, but not the left-hand side. And I've got some ideas on how to kind of make it my own because I just can't help myself. So we were in Colorado and we were camping. There's Hayden way out in the meadow. He had ridden his bike up to get cell service so he could check in with his girlfriend. It was very important. So I kind of snuck up on him and took a picture. My husband barbecuing. The boys were making a tree fort. This was a great big road trip, and this is just one little stop along the way, and we were boondocking. So we kind of found a spot out in the woods and just were parked our motorhomes, and it was absolutely gorgeous. You can see that blue sky there, and then it did rain on us, so we're all huddled under the tent. So you can see I've got two photos here. This is going to be my right hand side, and rather than one large 5x7 picture here, I'm just going to stack them so it'll have a similar footprint. But again, I've got some different ideas for the paper. So let's go ahead and scoot this out of the way. I should show you, I have quite a bit of scraps from this paper pack, so I will be trying to incorporate some of those. So let me set this aside and bring in my Versamats. Now, the basic beige is the color in this collection, and you can see they kind of have that, but I already used it for something else. So I went through my stash and found some almond. This is a close to my heart color, and these are the last two sheets of almond. I do have some scraps, but the last two sheets, and I'm sad because I really like this color. So if we're following along with the sketch, they've got this green paper down on the bottom going across, and then they have a rectangle of blue for the kind of a grid style. These are horizontal, or portrait mode, I should say. And then these are, actually, let's do the two fort building ones together, and maybe like this. So it's kind of a grid, a wonky grid, but then you have this cool spot for the title and embellishments. So my photos happen to fit that perfectly, so I'm going with it. And then these two, again, are going to fill that 5x7 spot on the other side. So you'll notice, and I do like this layout, but something I enjoy doing is making it look like one 12x24 layout. So I'm thinking I want to bring this green paper here over onto the left side, and then I want more blue. So rather than this green paper here, since I'm bringing it over, I'm thinking of matting this in blue just to bring a big pop of that blue over. So I'm going to just go ahead and go for it. I'm going to start on this side and cut down these pieces first. Before I get too carried away, I do find it helpful to secure these to my mat using a little removable glue dot. Usually I put one in two opposite corners, and that's sufficient enough to hold it. If I don't take the time to do that, I'm fighting straightening my layout the entire time. So I did cut this down according to the sketch, and then this blue paper is 9x10, again, according to the sketch design in the workshop. So it is nice having all of those measurements to work with. Bring our photos in, maybe something like that. That looks good. And I'm wondering what this would look like if we had a border all the way on the outer right edge. We'll leave that there for now. So this is another piece. I'm just kind of wondering, how much do I want to cut off? So let's go ahead and put this onto our Versamat as well. Bring our almond back in. And again, my goal is just to make it look like one 12x24 canvas. So I've got a strip here, but the trees are going the wrong way. Darn it, that may have been enough. We'll save that for another project. I do have this 4-inch piece, so we'll start with that. And then I do have this scrap here. It is 6x12, and I think that's going to be wide enough because my photos are actually only 5¼ inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that down to fit my two photos here. So they're matted together. And again, that's just bringing over that blue color. And then I pulled all of the embellishments. So these have the actual project 2 that are designed to go with this layout. Life is Better Outdoors. And then we've got this little strip. I've been cutting apart my stickers here. I have a lot of them in this tray that I got from Staples in the the office organizing section. So I'm just pulling out, I do have additional things in here too that aren't a part of this workshop, but you can see the circle and the title. And then let's actually flip to, they have a bigger version of this here. There it is. So you can see it a little bit better with all the measurements that tell you where to position things if you want that. But this is going to go right about here. And then we have this Life is Better Outdoors title. And then these circles layer together, which is where the journaling will go. So those will kind of sit right like that. And it's looking good, coming together super easily. This sticker says adventure. And then we have this little banner here. Now with this layout, there is another banner that they recommend pairing with this design. There it is. It says let's hike, but we're not really hiking, and I do have some hiking photos, so I'm going to save that one for a different layout. And they do have this one trimmed, so I will replicate that. I'm following along the pattern here, and I'm just eyeballing it on how long I want it, and we'll put a little arrow cut in the opposite end there, and I think that will work. I'm still debating if I want to scoot in the base paper to have like a border around the right hand side. And you know, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to make sure that these still fit if I make that change, bringing it in 1/2 inch, and I think it's going to work. I'm pretty happy with the right hand side. I'm going to trim this down, and then before I get everything adhered, I'm going to ink up the edges with this Early Espresso ink. It's a lovely shade of brown. It goes nice with this collection. So I'll just do a little bit here on camera. And I say this all the time, but it's so nice to use these workshop guides. You can follow them exactly or just as a jumping off point and tweak them to work for you. Everything is inked up and in place. Now they have this nature rules, and you can see that there with a bunch of strips on the left-hand page. So they've used this acorn paper, which I did gut the center of this out from behind that blue sheet, but I really want to use this paper with the compasses. So this is a little piece. It's about 3 inches wide. And I just want to kind of try that out. The acorns are cute, but I wanted to bring in this brown, and I really like this paper. What if we use just a little strip of this? Maybe. What if we put it kind of here? I don't know. You know what I'm wondering? Let's bring it over here. We have a lot of space over here. So what if we bump this over? And I'm feeling like this brown paper needs to be bigger. I've got this scrap, but they're going the wrong direction. I'd prefer them running up and down. So the compass doesn't matter, but there's boot prints and coffee cups that you can kind of tell are on their side. So I've got more paper. I went ahead and cut another one, and I don't want to waste this. So I'm using my spatula and prying up my adhesive, and I'm going to trim this in half, because that is worth salvaging for another project. So I cut that in half. We'll put this down. And then this is 6 by 9. But again, I just want to see more of that pattern because it's such a cool pattern paper. So this one will go here. And then I went ahead and pulled more of the pieces that belong to this layout. So my tag's not quite tall or long enough because, you know, I've altered the photo design. That piece is kind of lost. But I do want to bring over this orangey tone color to the left-hand side. So we have a little tab here. I could put the date on that. And then some little chevron arrows, which I really like these as a little embellishment. I'm feeling like we need green on the left-hand side. So I have this piece that I cut off, and there's still adhesive on it. Let's work smarter, not harder. Move that out of the way. This way it looks kind of continuous. So, but I also want to bring in some pine trees. So I could use the trees to bring the green over. It's okay, but I have another idea for this spot. So let's kind of wait on that. And I can always remove the adhesive from that with my gum eraser if I choose not to use it. So my idea is to add some stamping. This is the textured timber stamp, and this looks like birch bark. So wood textures obviously go very well with these outdoor layouts, and I'm thinking of kind of framing in my photos. So what we're going to do is put a little border. I'm thinking I don't want it to extend past that. Let's set these aside, and then I'm using pecan pie ink. I want a lighter brown so it's a little bit softer, and just want it to be a nice little detail and not overwhelm anything. So I am going to move this to the edge of the block so I can more easily get it underneath that paper there, so it looks like it's coming out from underneath it. And so far so good. Let's bring our photo in for a guide here, and then we'll just work our way around this. You can easily make this kind of a continuous pattern, so I like it. It's looking good. Worst case scenario, I can always flip my base cardstock over and try again, but I am liking this. I think it's looking good. So again, we want it originating from beneath it, and then let's kind of overlap right here, and maybe one more. That's not quite showing enough. Perfect. Colorado's so beautiful. On our road trip, we ended up in this area because we were doing some mountain biking and found some promising trails, and they did not disappoint. So it was nice to explore this area on our road trip. Back to the layout, I have a second sticker from the sticker sheet, and this brings that orangey tone over. I also want to bring green, so using my Forever Forest die set, I cut a bunch of these pine trees from Old Olive and Mossy Meadow, so we can have some nice variation in color and tone. And this will bring that green all the way over to the left side. So you'll notice my little orangey colored sticker serves, a big purpose. Not only does it bring that design element and color over from the right-hand page, but it gives my trees a little place to grow from. I like to have my embellishments, especially things like this, kind of grounded to the layout so they're not just kind of suspended in air, so to speak. So this little strip works perfectly to kind of support those trees, and I want to carry it across. So we'll just add a few here, and maybe let's go with this taller one here, and then the darker one. The darker is Mossy Meadow, the lighter color is Old Olive, and then one right over here. I think that looks pretty good. So I do want to make this shorter. I don't want it to go all the way to the edge of the paper, but I need it long enough to support my trees. So we are just, sorry, I'm off camera just a bit, putting a little angle in there, and we'll bring that back in. When they're touching the edge of the paper, I feel the need to put them on the same level so it's continuous, but because they're, the one on the right is much higher, it works for me because they're not going to the edge of the paper. And then I did dig through my stamp collection and found a cute little stamp. I'll show you that here in just a moment. I don't know what happened. I put all my trees on the right, and I want some trees right here at the base of this little tag shape. I think we need a darker one, and then we'll put this guy back over here. So this stamp set is called Aurora, and there's a little camper with the sun and some pine trees. So I colored that up with the boho blue marker and Old Olive for the trees. So this needs to be higher, but we've got a gap. So let's move this adventure sticker up. Oh, that's perfect. I want this, it was disappearing behind the photo, covering too much, so I had to bump it up. And then we'll bring our tree back in, and yeah, that's fun. I did add my journaling here on the circle using the brown Le Pen journaling pen, and I'm stapling a little ribbon to the top of my tag. This is the Tim Holtz mini stapler. And then we need the date. So I just went through my stamp collection and found an old date stamp set. And the journaling just talks about how we were boondocking in Red Cliff, Colorado. Boondocking is when you're not in an established campground. You're just off somewhere, wherever you happen to find a good spot. So boondocking in Red Cliff, and the boys were having a fun time building a fort and exploring the area on their bikes. And when the rain rolled in that afternoon, we huddled under the shelter by the fire, but we were just cozy and content, having some hot cocoa, and it was a really peaceful spot. I only stamped the month and the day, but I don't need the year because this is going in its own vacation album, so that will already have been documented. So let's go ahead and look at the original design here. Again, we've got one photo and the cluster is on the right. I kind of broke that up, added stamping and 2 photos. I think that stamping turned out pretty cool. And we brought the green over to make it look continuous. And then here, this one, I did follow it pretty closely, just changing up the embellishments slightly to suit my photos and help tell the story. I hope you guys are enjoying seeing all the layouts I've been creating with the Weekend Adventures collection, because I'm absolutely loving it and have even more to share with you. And if not, hopefully you can use the layout design with paper packs you have in your stash. Everything is listed in the description box below. And if you're looking for more outdoor adventure layouts, watch this one right here.